How does Judd Apatow keep getting work?
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, it's Sergeant Zarowik, asking the most pressing questions of the day, the hour, the minute, nay, the second. How does Judd Apatow keep getting work?
Yeah, I honestly, look, I love Apatow, and I very much am in his wheelhouse when it comes to audience. Like, so this is not coming from a place, like, I don't want, it's going to sound hypocritical when I say this, but like, like, how did he get a job doing anything after 1996?
That's a really good question. The fact of the matter is that he was friends with the right people. Like, just in all of the terminology of it, he had good friends who kept him going. And that's just a fact.
I do have to say
that's just a fact.
That I've never heard that anybody, but I've never heard anybody say they had a bad time working on these movies. I mean, by all accounts, like, Celtic Pride was like a surprise to everybody involved that it didn't do well.
Right, and hi, before we go further than this, because this is a really good conversation, it's the Say Report, we're a show about everything, and we are in the middle of a time capsule episode. We record these episodes out of space and time, just to let you know where we are, for whenever this does release, Civil War II, or whatever crazy things may happen to this country. It is currently February 10th, 2026, where we are recording this episode looking at Celtic Pride. It's weird that we're recording this episode, but not as weird as you'd think. The fact of the matter is that 2 days ago, Sejohn and I watched our beloved New England Patriots lose spectacularly in Super Bowl 60. And so, either way, this episode was going to be good. It was going to be a way for us to celebrate New England's win, or it was going to be the thickest, most viscous salve that we could find to make ourselves feel better after the loss. So we're like,
the thing is that
no, go.
No, this movie is clearly written by people that despise Boston, right? Like, that is the bit. Boston is the joke in this movie, and this is not me. This is not me like complaining. But it is definitely the bias that you have to understand this film has. Because the thing is that the reason why that's big to me is that when I was a kid, like, this was a movie at just the right time where I was getting aware, I was aware that there were movies I was not allowed to watch, right? And this was right on the edge of whether or not I was going to see this thing or not. And I remember somebody gave it to me as like a birthday present. Like, I got the VHS copy of Celtic Pride, and that's how I watched this movie the first time. And then like there was this kind of, I don't know, there was this just level of just of filming going on that I just completely lost it.
You lost right here what you were trying to do, or like, where we at, buddy? How we talking? It happens. It's completely understandable. It's this movie for me. We definitely rented and watched this film as a family. This was like an afternoon, Sunday afternoon. There are no sports on. This is what we're going to do because there's no football, baseball, basketball, or hockey going on.
But like, did nobody understand that we were the bad guys back then? I guess that's what the point I was trying to get to. Like, did nobody understand that this was not a movie made for people from our area?
Well, okay, so the most important thing to note about Celtic Pride is that it is either the 1995-1996 basketball season, where it was the Chicago Bulls and the Utah Jazz in the finals, or it was the 1994-1995 NBA season. I just need to look at that. No, 94-95. Thank you. Where it was the Houston Rockets against the New York... No, that's 94. The Rockets defeating the Orlando Magic. So, like, it's crazy. But there's also the fact that the Utah Jazz really did go to like an NBA Finals. Like, that's just insane to me. That's just crazy. When you think about that.
Like, this is another one of my biases, but being from where I am, the Jazz is not the worst team in the world to watch. The season's always interesting. The thing is they do whiff it eventually, but I grew up in Boston, man. I know how to handle that.
I gotta tell you, the information on the site is wrong, because the finals were definitely the Bulls versus the Supersonics. So I don't know where the Jazz are defeated by the Supersonics in the finals. Wow, the NBA website is fucking wrong. Oh, okay, so it's the 96-97 finals, where it's the Bulls against the Jazz, which I guess technically is the 96 season. The NBA website is weird. I'm just going to say that. But like the Utah Jazz...
Oh, but maybe that means that this movie would have been after that, or it would have been before that season, so maybe this is the thing that jazzed them up, as it were.
Yeah, right? Karl Malone, loving it. I don't frickin' know. It is a weird thing that this is, by all accounts, an alternative history where the Celtics didn't shit their pants in the 90s. That is the first thing. So, like, people who hate Boston, because we are villains. In, like, all sports, we are viewed as villains. I understand that. There was a time when we were the underdogs, but we were real ungracious winners. That's just a fact,
Does that surprise us? No,
I've been in Boston for 1 second. It does not surprise me in the least. So, yeah. But these are people who are creating an alt history where the Celtics are good enough to make it to the finals, but the only team that it is serviceable that they would be good enough to be going up against in the finals are the Utah Jazz. No, you're wrong. No, you're not wrong. The Utah Jazz, they're a fine team, but they are the punching bags of the NBA in the 90s. Mostly because of the very simple fact that they don't like jazz in Utah, see, Jim? So why the fuck are they the Utah Jazz?
No, Utah's acquisition of the Jazz was definitely like a really bad start to that relationship for sure. It's definitely come around. There are people out here just fucking adore the Jazz and all of that.
But that was the joke. That was like the joke du jour in the 90s when the Jazz moved to Utah. Was do they even listen to jazz in Utah? Like, there's a really good, I don't know how you felt about it now being a Utahian yourself, where Daniel Stern is
just Utah, by the way. It's not the hardest one to figure out.
Yeah, I like Utahian. I call people from Connecticut Connecticutinos. I don't care about the standard name for people from states, Sejohn. That's just not my bag, baby. I'm a Rhode Island and Providence plantationer. Thank you very much.
Oops.
Stop. Did we actually like change the name? I don't know. I remember it being a thing I had to vote
nobody
on.
Nobody told me if you did.
Who knows? But yeah, no, like I don't know. Excuse me. How you feel about
He's
it?
Dying.
But well, we'll talk about it. I wanted to get this out of the way before we got into the show. But yeah, I'm not actually dying. That was like more at 11 and like tune in. No. I just have bronchitis. I actually went to a doctor this morning and I officially have bronchitis.
And he's here recording, but everybody, not because I made him, but because this is me finding out.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm on antibiotic. I have a Z-Pack. I'm on steroids. Like, I'm going to cough a little bit. I have had...
Yeah, but you still got to protect your instrument, man. You know, this is your moneymaker.
It is. It's true. It's very true. But okay, what if it gets worse before it gets better, Sejohn? Shouldn't I record now when I can actually talk into it and do a time capsule episode? These are supposed to be prophylactics, these episodes, so we don't wind up getting the podcast space pregnant. I lost the theme there. So they create a fictional universe where Boston's good enough to get to the championships in a time where the Bulls are pretty much dominating the NBA. Let's just talk about that.
Right, yeah. I mean, I mean, but the Bird, like, Jordan rivalry was a driving force behind the Bulls dominating. You know what I mean? Like, again, because we were the villains, right? Like, because you needed the what is it? The Washington Generals to the
Harlem Globetrotters.
What's the name of to the Harlem Globetrotters? Right? Yeah. Okay.
You bet against the Globetrotters? I thought the Generals would do. That's one of my favorite jokes. It's true, they are too. Yeah, it's. I don't know. You know what this film is demonstrative of? That the people who were watching basketball in the 80s were the people writing the scripts of the entertainment in the 90s. Because you better believe Colin Quinn and freaking Judd Apatow hated the 80s domination of the Celtics. Absolutely hated it. So that's when they wrote this movie. And then suddenly it gets made in 1996 where studios are just hungry for basketball scripts. Oh my God, basketball's fucking relevant again.
Well, I was thinking about this today.
Yeah. I mean,
what's the Eddie is the Whoopi Goldberg one, right? And then
I like that
the
movie,
other Wayne's one that is a fucking depressing one. The Sixth Man.
I was thinking about this whole movie. I'm like, man, was The Sixth Man also 96? I actually think it was 97 or perhaps 98. But yeah, they were hung. I mean, 96 is also the year that we get The Great White Hype and Space Jam. You know who was just kicking ass in 96? Quad City DJs. Because they got Ride the Train in Celtic Pride before writing the basketball song in Space Jam. It's nuts. It's insane. And they're only... sorry.
What is when did Air Bud come out? Was that also in this time? Was that part of the basketball craze?
It was part of the basketball craze, but I am going to say that Air Bud was 99? Let me double check, though. I can look up Air Bud in the middle of it. 97. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Are you going to go see Air Bud Returns August 21st, 2026? Do you already have your ticket purchased? I don't think they have the dog yet.
This is another thing that I am just learning in the moment, Devin.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Sorry to spring so much on you, Siege. But yeah, so Celtic Pride is this movie. It's interesting. We're talking about this movie for a couple of reasons. A, it is a salve after the Super Bowl, or it could have been a victory. We have other stuff that we're supposed to talk about, but Siege and I have always secretly been nursing this desire to talk about Celtic Pride. It is something that comes up as a joke every so often. And then I saw this opportunity where we should fucking talk about Celtic Pride. And here we are. We're doing the episode. And this episode is now retroactively unlocked time capsule topics. I want to go back and do Major Pain now. I don't give a fuck. I know that it was last year. We're doing it this year.
Man.
This makes me, we were already talking about doing Space Jam. Now we're definitely going to do Space Jam. You're also going to do The Great White Hype, because this episode marks us completing 2/3 of the Damon Wayans trilogy from 1996 that I completely forgot was a thing that existed. I mean...
Yeah, oh, man.
Fuck. Let's talk about the fact that we've already brought up Judd Apatow. That connects to Adam Sandler. Damon Wayans is in a film with Adam Sandler in 96 in Bulletproof. Christopher McDonald, Shooter fucking Gavin himself, is the coach of the Utah Jazz in this movie. Him and Sandler did Happy Gilmore. This film is so fucking comedy inbred. It blew my mind. Thinking of all the connective fucking tissue that this film represented hurt. It legitimately hurt to just try to understand the scope of it. Because when this started, my justification outside of the Super Bowl was going to be the fact that Daniel Stern was almost the bully in Big Bully. So why don't we look at something that Daniel Stern did in 1996? Which also, While we're
Yeah.
talking about Big Bully again, fucking Judd Apatow wrote 3 Tom Arnold comedy specials. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means to be credited as a writer on a comedy special. I'm just going to admit that. But Tom Arnold, The Naked Truth, 1, 2, and 3, a writer was Judd Apatow, who also wrote this movie. And honestly,
Yeah, I could see I could see the benefit of having a couple of writers sit down and watch your set with you and kind of like reshape some jokes and stuff.
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Interesting way to go about it, but I could see it.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a thing that happens. Whew, sorry. But like it really, but then you say that you mentioned that. How does Judd Apatow keep getting work, right? Because that's it. Not only 96, right? So he has the 2 shit your pants moments of fucking Celtic Pride and The Cable Guy. Undeniable stuff there. But he also was on the Ben Stiller show, which everybody talks about how it's the best fucking show that nobody was watching. He goes on to Freaks and Geeks, 99-2000, right? He's one of the creators and doing stories for Freaks and Geeks. And then that show is a show that just could not find an audience until the 2000s. He does Undeclared, which is another one that just kind of shits the bed, one and done season. The guy keeps failing and keeps failing, but like it has to be freaking Gary Shandling, who like keeps saying, this guy's pretty good, this guy's good, we got to keep giving this guy a chance. I mean, in addition to everybody else, we don't have the Judd Apatow that we know now if the 40-Year-Old Virgin did not hit in the way that it did in 2005.
No, of course, yeah.
Like it's
No, right. It landed just right. No, it's one of those things where like we've talked about Judd Apatow before, say on this show and on the ASCU, right?
Yeah.
But like there was he was kind of just everywhere. He was on The Simpsons. He did The Critic. Then also he was like doing his own shit with Undeclared and Freaks and Geeks and stuff. But like he was showing up also as a writer just on every fucking movie because like he was just working in the 90s. So he was just kind of everywhere. So like I understand why he kept getting work, especially because again, as far as we know at the moment, mark the date, is that like he's always been a gem to work with, so like there's something to that, right? Like you can Keanu Reeves got by for a very long time on genuinely just being a good person to work with. he hit his stride lately, and I praise him for that, but there was a period where he was the joke.
What, like The Rainmaker? Is that the movie that like leapt to mind as like that's a Keanu Reeves movie? I mean, I don't want to be rude, but like The Lake House, I like The Lake House, but the first time that I saw The Lake House, I'm like, oh, this is what's gonna happen.
No, think earlier in his career.
Oh, even earlier.
When he did like Shakespeare and shit. Like he did like a Kevin. He did.
Oh
a
yeah,
Kenneth Branagh.
is he in Much Ado About Nothing? Is he in the '96 Much Ado? Oh, I hate you, Siege. Are we gonna do Much Ado? I'm not. I'm calling it now. I can't do it. I cannot do Shakespeare on the Say Report. I
would rather do Romeo plus Juliet at some point.
Yeah, no, I'd be okay with that. I would honestly be okay with either of them. But I just got to confirm. Much Ado is just the one that I have nothing but bad memories about. Yeah, Much Ado About
Nothing. I think it might be Midsummer, but maybe
Much Ado About Nothing, 1993. Okay. Yeah, we watched it in class, and I was just like, yeah. I mean, this is historically the class where the principal was observing and sitting next to me, and halfway through the teacher's lecture, he knocked on my desk and said, "This is fucking boring." And I'm like, yeah, it is. But like, I can't say that. You're the principal. But you want to start the conversation. She's a terrible teacher. She didn't get her job back the next year. I'm not saying I'm responsible for that. I just know the conversation that happened between me and the principal when he was observing her. I'm going to take a sip of my water, Siege, and maybe it's time for you to talk.
Yeah, so we have Apatow, who's just again working his ass off. We have Colin Quinn, who is, I mean, at this point writing and on SNL, right?
Well,
like,
he's
up in that.
Joined SNL. Like he just joined SNL along with The guy who plays the actual bad luck guy. Oh my God, what the hell's his fucking name? All I can see is other characters. Chris McCarthy is the character's name. He is not listed in the top cast.
Chris Elliott?
No, it's not Chris Elliott. Chris McCarthy is the character. I paid $300 for these tickets. Who the fuck is that actor? It's not Colin Quinn. It's the other one. He did the Daryl Hammond. Daryl Hammond and Colin Quinn had just joined.
There's so many other things Daryl Hammond has done. He did Bill Clinton for years, or Al Gore. I mean, for years.
I know that. I was trying to think of what he was in this movie. Like that was the issue. But they had just joined SNL. Let's also talk about the fact of like the Saturday Night Live pedigree that is just on fucking display in this movie. Have we even mentioned Aykroyd's name 21 minutes into this episode? I don't think we have.
Yeah, so the two leads, played by Daniel Stern and Dan Aykroyd, then take on a kidnapping of the third lead, Marlon Wayans?
Damon. It's Damon
Wayans. Yeah, no, I was like, wait a minute, Marlon's the son.
Marlon is not the son.
Nephew?
Marlon
Anyway.
and Sean are their brothers. Keenan, Damon, Marlon, and Sean Wayans are all the same age.
Is Keenan a junior, though?
Keenan Ivory Wayans, he might be a junior. Now I need to check that out.
I don't know.
I got no problem with that.
No, I'm not sure about that. But anyway, yeah, the Wayans, the dynasty is pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get this fun movie about two Boston dudes kidnapping a guy.
Sort of accidentally. I'm gonna say that.
They try. Look, they do a lot of work to try and say like, oh, you know, it wasn't what they meant to do. But the point is that they do go through with it. Like, we watch their descent into madness. So sure, the guys they start out as are not necessarily the kind of guys you think would be able to do this, but they become psychopaths by the end of this movie.
Oh, come on!
Literally, the last shot of this movie is them sneaking into Deion Sanders' hotel room.
I would have to imagine it's his hotel. I don't know. Maybe it's his house. Yeah, like that. I do like that as an ending. In my head, the ending of this movie was Damon Wayans' Scott Lewis character getting traded to the Celtics so that they then get to root for their friend. No. They have to root for the Jazz in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, or Damon Wayans will turn them in for the kidnapping. Spoilers for the movie, by the way. I had no chill there. Absolutely no chill there. Spoiling the end of this movie.
I mean, it doesn't matter because the movie is just a weird little piece of cinema, and I am so fascinated by the ways in which it didn't hit with anybody else in the world. I mean, this is a movie that made $9 million altogether, and as far as I can tell, it was only in theaters for 2 weekends. It made $3 million its opening weekend, dropped to $1 million its second weekend, and they just yanked it. So somewhere along the line, it also made up another $5 million. I don't know if that was just like second runs or if they're including VHS sales and that shit or what.
That's insane. I have always had a special little place in my heart for this movie, probably because we did watch it as a family. The whole family sat down to watch it tonight, and my mother was real into it until it turned into a kidnapping plot. I mean, their initial plan is so fucking Boston. We're going to get this NBA player so fucking wasted that he's gonna be wicked wasted. He ain't going to be able to perform on Sunday. We'll get him so fucking blitzed out of his fucking mind. And that works.
That when I get wasted, I can't perform.
And that, by all accounts, works.
We're just writing bits from this movie now.
Yeah, we are. We are kind of. Are we going to rewrite Celtic Pride? Like, do you want to remake this movie? We could. I'm sure the rights are cheap.
I think we should just remake it.
Yeah. Oh, just remake it? Same exact script, like just straight up. You know, my favorite part of that is that Will plays Kevin O'Grady, the cop. I like that we have Will as the cop.
I mean, I like the fact that LeBron James is definitely going to sign on because he's so desperate to break into movies.
That's mean. He was in Trainwreck, which was written by Judd Apatow. It all connects. GIF of the woman with all the numbers from Coyote Ugly. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I do. This is a movie that I have. Like, this is another one of those films. This is apparently what time capsule episodes are going to be about in 2026. Are the films I talked about on the fucking playground. I remember sitting on the swings talking about Celtic Pride and how just kind of crazy this movie was. Because it is.
Yeah,
like,
this was one of those movies that we talked about, like sitting like at the lunch table, bragging about who owned it or who saw it, who got to see it, who didn't want to see it, things like that. Like, this was definitely one of those movies that we talked about for like a moment. I don't want to make that sound like it was like a big hit with everybody. Like, I think The Stupids with Tom Arnold lasted longer than this did.
Well, I can't wait till we get there. Yeah, it is. It's just this weird little... I mean, first of all, living in Rhode Island, which does get name-checked in this movie. Gail O'Grady is in this fucking movie, who means nothing in 2026. But in 1996, she had just pulled the Shelley Long, leaving NYPD Blue, and like, I'm gonna break into pictures. And her first choice was Celtic Pride. I mean, good job.
Look,
Gail
you can't say it like that. You can't say it like that. That's the important thing here, is that, like, I think that this is a movie that is just too weird to ever be, like, great cinema. And, like, everybody involved is really actually doing a pretty decent job for what they do, right? I never, again, want to see Dan Aykroyd in lingerie.
I like that it's in black and white. It made it seem classy. But let's talk about.
But that is something that he was willing to do for this movie, right? Like, so I do feel like he showed up, right?
True. Of course he shows up. He always shows up. If the little thread of Dan Aykroyd films that we have amassed in the tenure of the Say Report says anything, is that Dan Aykroyd, I can't think of a film where he phones it in. Like, he straight up gives his all. Maybe Casper. And that's because he was relying on that stupid little mustache to carry his little appearance in Casper. But, like, yeah. But Gail O'Grady, she does Celtic Pride. Sejohn, do you want to take a guess at the next theatrical feature film that she's in?
Gail O'Grady? Jeez, I don't know. Does she just show up in like another basketball film down the line? Finding Forrester. I'm gonna call it my favorite basketball movie of all time. Finding Forrester.
I cannot wait till we talk about Finding Forrester on this show. It's that old feeling. In '97, I completely skipped that one where I set this up because what had caught my eye and what I was like, what actually worked, because she's in this movie Celtic Pride, and then she's in that old feeling, a Carl Reiner film. She's in a bunch of TV movies, and then what finally kind of kicks off her like film career is Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo.
Oh no! Oh dear! Do you know, I just found out that Rob Schneider has been producing a conservative version of Bluey.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Of all the words that could have just come out of your mouth, Rob Schneider produces conservative version of Bluey is like number 2 on my Family Feud board.
Oh man.
But
anyway,
sorry. Yeah, no, it's like everybody who shows up in this film, it feels like they're giving their all. Like it's so, like it goes back to what you're saying about like nobody's upset about working on Judd Apatow stuff. So I don't know why. Is he just too ahead of the curve? Because like,
to be fair, this is something that I need to do because I need to start making up for things in the past. But there is at least one person that has. Katherine Heigl had a very different opinion about working with Judd Apatow. Not to my knowledge anything upsetting, just more that they just didn't jive, unless there's more that I don't know. But we should point out that there has been at least one very public person that did not enjoy working with Judd Apatow. Like, I don't want to sit here and act like we're ignoring her.
In Katherine Heigl's defense, I fucking hate Knocked Up. Knocked Up is a movie that does not work for me on any level. And I could imagine, like, that's his big I finally fucking made it movie is Knocked Up. Like, 40-Year-Old Virgin finally hits. He finally has a hit on his hands. He follows that up with Knocked Up, and it is mostly the bulk of that film is his friends hanging out doing improv. Like,
yes, as two people that studied Adam Sandler, that is what you do once you become famous, right?
Yeah.
But I also want to point out to you that you can put as much like like what's the word, venom on the end of that as you want, but like Knocked Up was a massive success of a film. So like, yes.
Yeah. Look, I know that it's a success. I know that as when I saw that film in theaters at like a preview screening, I was stupid excited because I was the Judd Apatow guy. I will admit, I forgot that Apatow had done Celtic Pride until the credits rolled on my viewing of the film today. I will admit that. That did not factor at all into me wanting to cover the movie that we are currently covering in the episode that the listener is listening to. That said, I was a huge Apatow fan. I liked Freaks and Geeks before the DVDs came out. Like, I watched that when it was new. I watched Undeclared. I didn't realize who, like, the creatives behind things were. That really wasn't something that came into focus until, like, my senior year of high school when I took classes that were, you know, about the creatives behind films. All I ever focused on were actors. I'll admit that. I will admit that. So now I finally appreciate this person is the writer. This person is the director. And what their voices do to an actual piece of entertainment. And I saw Knocked Up, stupid excited, because I was the only person when I saw the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I was the only person in the theater. It was the first showing of it at the Showcase Cinema the day that it came out. I believe I blew off Friday classes to go see the 40-Year-Old Virgin alone in the theater because nobody was interested in seeing that movie with me. That is the set piece. And that movie connected with me on so many levels. The soundtrack for the 40-Year-Old Virgin was the first soundtrack I bought after having a CD player installed in my car. That's like the significant milestones that just, I feel, need to be discussed. I'll say that right here. Sorry, I'm getting all like weepy-eyed. So Knocked Up was such a disappointment to me. I finally felt the way the rest of the world felt about Judd Apatow, and it was at the time that his like stack and status was rising in Hollywood. And there's my Judd Apatow Knocked Up story.
Yeah.
Like, scene.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a great movie. Anyway, but yeah, so we have this weird kind of little thing in an era of Apatow's career when he's already kind of not firing on all cylinders, but that's not fair because I feel like he really is. If this movie had come out post 40-Year-Old Virgin, I think this would have a very different fan base.
Yeah, the weird thing is, so like I was saying, it was like, my only argument for this movie is maybe it's ahead of its time. But I don't think anybody who watches this movie, like, now would be like, what a great film, what a masterpiece, what a hidden gem. I don't know how this film would be received by somebody seeing it for the first time in 2026. I mean, I guess Dale
it's weird
enjoyed
because
it. Like, that was her first time seeing it, but sorry.
There was a real resurgence, and I'll lay this at the feet of Tarantino, really. But there was this really significant resurgence of the dark comedy in the 90s and then bleeding into the 2000s, and like the like super dark kind of stuff, but also treated very lightly. You know, I think about like one of the more like marketable films in this genre would be something like Get Shorty, right? Like something in that vein, where like, you know, we're lighthearted, we're jokey, we're talking fast and funny about terrible things that are happening, right? And so this movie comes out kind of in the middle of all of that, and like it's not mean enough to qualify for one of those, but it's also far too upsetting to be like a family film. So like what is the audience for this film? Because again, I grew up in an area where we had people who seemed to think it was for Boston fans, but I don't think it was. And outside of that area, I don't know who it was meant to hit anyway.
Yeah, it's not. Who it's meant to hit is the fact that the NBA basketball is fucking huge. Basketball was such a big deal in the 90s. It's undeniable.
We were in the era of the celebrity.
Yeah. We really were. It's I don't know, cuz there's also like this
It's what
Sorry.
But it's what he represents in this movie. It's what Wayne's represents in this movie. Is that we were in that era where we no longer cared about just them on the court, which is kind of the I will give it to Jordan. Like Jordan and Bird, like those two were probably the last two that we were into just what they did on the court. Now and after them and till now, it's become this thing of we need to know what they do at night, what their family life is like. You know, what are they invested in outside of basketball? You know, are they giving back to the community in some way? Are they complete assholes? Are they drunk drivers? Like, we need to know all of this stuff outside of the game of them now. And this is when that's coming to fruition. And that's exactly who Wayne's is in this movie.
Yeah, but also that is such a weird thing for me to like jive with in this film, because there's that moment where Daniel Stern's wife, right, Gail O'Grady, looks him in the eyes and does not know that he is Lewis Scott. And that just seems so disingenuous from everything that we have been told about this character up to that moment in the film. The fact that his kid recognizes him makes perfect sense, because his kid is shown to enjoy sports, right?
Right.
And even if the wife is supposed to be, you're too obsessed with sports, your mood is too tied to the success of the Celtics, the Boston Celtics. Like, that's her whole character, but we're supposed to believe that this guy, legitimately the scene before his wife shows up and has no fucking clue who Lewis Scott is when they're sitting on the couch and he's like, I bet if I flip through all of these channels, I will see one of your commercials. And if that doesn't happen, we'll let you go. That is the order of operations. So for then his wife not to see him and immediately know who it is the most disingenuous moment in this film that is a fucking farce. A genre built on disingenuous moments. Am I wrong? Like,
the movie, like I said, man, it's just weird. So, like, there's this whole bit in the movie about the Boston Gardens coming down, right? And like, all of the indoor shots for the basketball games, they were like in like a church gym. Like, it was the weirdest thing. Like to make it a plot point and then not make any effort to actually use at least a stadium.
There's a trivia as to why. They were created by the film's production designer and about 90% close to what the old Boston Garden looked like. And they were just before it was scheduled for demolition. But, like, there's, like, so few... None of it, like... It was weird. Did you ever go to the old garden? Like, that's going to be where I start this conversation. Did you ever visit the old Boston Garden?
Yeah, it wasn't to see the Celtics.
That's okay. It
was to see something on ice, I believe.
I'm not judging for that.
Or perhaps Sesame Street Live, but yeah.
But you know my father, right? You knew my father. you know this house, right? Sports are part of the Decker coat of arms, right? And my parents made sure that I got to see a game in the old Boston Garden before it was demolished. So we're watching the movie, and on like the outside shots of it, and then like the walk in, like there's some genuine moments of that. And I'm like, and my mom does the whole it's a Decker thing. Maybe everybody does it, but I know for a fact we do it. When somewhere that we have been is shown in a movie, we go, oh, I've been there. And my mom did that thinking like, oh, I get to be the only one in the room saying this. And I'm like, I've been there too. Completely forgetting about the time that I was brought to go see a game there, like the summer before the closing was announced. Like the closing happened. So like, cause I remember like I ended up breaking a foam finger that I got there, and like it being a moment of like, that's from the old Garden. And I'm just like, oh my God, I like forgot like the significance of this. And it wasn't like, I wasn't like being an asshole about it. Like it broke, they're made of foam, right? Like you're supposed to not touch them. So like I moved it and it like crumbled in my hand, and it was this like little moment of sadness. So there are, but you're right. It does not feel like real basketball is being played during any of the basketball shots.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's not even about that, right? Like, it's all these bits because, because he's kidnapped by these two bozos, right? And the concept of what's going on, they literally take him off the basketball court, right? So like we have this super opposing force in Dan Wayne's on the court, and he is immediately removed from that. And then it's more about like seeing him in the commercials and seeing him selling all of the shit. But like you get to this point where like you forget kind of like what the deal is. You just know that it's Boston is like going to be, because at some point we see Dan Aykroyd wearing a Patriots helmet. At some point, we see Daniel Stern. Is it Stern wearing a Bruins hat or something?
I mean, like, the fact of the matter is that Jimmy Flaherty's house is like a sports memorabilia museum. So, like, they're wearing all sorts of different stuff. And there's all sorts of, like, Boston representation in, like, every single shot of this film.
Right. Yeah. So if this movie was supposed to be more for the NBA, like if you're like a basketball fan, you're not seeing much of it in here. I don't know.
No, but it's that type of stuff where like people will go see basketball movies. I saw fucking Blue Chips. This is a movie that I've been reminded of a lot lately. The Air Up There. Do you remember the film The Air Up There? The Kevin Bacon film where he goes to like rural Africa in order to like scout players. I saw that movie multiple times.
It was basically White Men Can't Jump, right?
Kind of. It was like
the gods must be crazy.
Yeah, it was White Men Can't Jump because the gods are crazy. I saw that movie 3 times in theaters minimum. I loved that movie. But also, you bring up something like White Men Can't Jump. It was the time where basketball became the dominant sport in America. Undeniably, the 90s are when basketball players started to make the money that we see them making now, started to have the cachet in society that we see them wield in 2026. It's undeniable.
I mean, if you want to get into like the real like geopolitical like aspects of it, what happened was that Dallas started winning in football, and I'm not like clearly there was talent in basketball that was also pushing it to the forefront, but the threshold moment for basketball to overtake football in this country was that Dallas became a dynasty, and the rest of the country just kind of lost interest for a bit. It wasn't interesting anymore to watch Dallas win another game. So it just kind of became this thing where basketball was this thing that was being played in the cities and in the areas where there was huge groups of people, and not necessarily in the same area where maybe football was now dominant. It got like weirdly segregated in that time, right? And then like we see the football culture that came out of that, in like Friday Night Lights and style shit, right? Like, and that kind of thing. And we see also the ways in which kind of the basketball life kind of became part of like life in the 90s and the 2000s. And again, not that that stuff was not already there for a large group of people in this country, but in terms of to the forefront becoming this popular as it was.
Yeah. It transcended only sport. One of the most, straight up, the most disingenuous part is the fact that his wife does not immediately recognize Damon Wayans. It cuts out all of the stuff the narrative has been building up to that point about how ubiquitous Lewis Scott is meant to be as a human being in the world. Another disingenuous moment is when Daniel Stern is leaving the house. Like, he's packed up his stuff. He's going to go stay with Jimmy. And he says to his kid, sports used to matter in this country and they don't anymore. That's a fuck of a thing to say in 1996. That is a fuck of a statement to make in your film in 1996 when sport is really having its fucking moment. I mean, like, there was an Olympics that year. There was an Olympics that year in Atlanta, Georgia, where there was an attempted bombing, and sports took the forefront even more than it did when the Olympics were going on. Because it tied into... Sorry. Yeah. It's just such a weird statement that, like, sports used to mean something in this country, son, and now they don't. And it's like... What are you talking about? Like, what alternate history is this where you think that? Like, I mean...
But I do think it is speaking to something that I heard a lot while I was growing up, that it just wasn't the same game anymore, which, has definite roots in things like racism. But to the other point, the whole culture that we were talking about that was coming to fruition in the basketball world, the idea that the celebrity was being born in that sport changed the way it was watched and talked about. Yeah. So suddenly a bunch of people that were brought up on the sport in a certain way, didn't love the ways in which sports, like, writ large, were being kind of put up in this country. Again, I point to the idea that in football, like, I remember there were just seasons where, like, we didn't watch every game, and that was and in retrospect it's even weirder to me, but even at the time I was like, is there a game today? like that kind of stuff. But like, there is kind of this lull in the 90s for football, and basketball is able to kind of step forward, and when it does that, it changes. And for a lot of people, they would say the better, right? But there is definitely a group of people that felt like it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It really is like
I just think it speaks more to him being an idiot and a dick.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's I think that's probably what it's supposed to be. It's just weird. Like, there's weird stuff about it, but you're not wrong. Think about the season 8 premiere of The Simpsons, where Homer is gifted the Denver Broncos. And that's like
Denver Broncos.
You just don't understand football, Marge. And then, like, suddenly the Denver Broncos become almost a dynasty in and of themselves with how they performed that next year. Like, those people who think that sports are fixed, I understand why. Like, I can look and be like, all right, I mean, that does certainly seem like evidence if you're trying to fit a narrative. I'm not upset about it. But I don't know. It's just it's strange. It's a strange thing to say in 96 because we've already mentioned the cable guy. And, like, that movie, for some reason, has a basketball subplot. Like, basketball was hyper ubiquitous at the time. And it's the only reason this movie gets
forget about the basketball scenes. Oh, fucking cable guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. What else are we talking about in this movie?
You gonna make it?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just... I'm trying to think of other things that need to be talked about.
I mean, like, I think the other reason that this movie is in a weird spot for me is because I don't really know if I could tell you, like, I couldn't pull anything off of the soundtrack for you. Like, this movie doesn't hit on any other kind of medium either. You know what I mean? Like, this wasn't a movie that I saw on TV a lot. You know, every now and then I would catch it weirdly, but like I wouldn't say this was a movie that was on repeat like other movies were. So like this movie just doesn't have the cultural kind of impact in any way.
How dare you say this soundtrack doesn't have any songs that catch your mind? This is yet another film that features the song "Connected" by the Stereo MCs. You want to do a club scene in the fucking 90s? Here's the song you turn to. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what else is crazy?
It's a banger of a song, but the problem is that this movie's not doing anything interesting with it. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by it doesn't stand out. You know, because plenty of movies have Freebird in them, but I will always stand by the best use of it possibly ever being Devil's Rejects. The end of that movie is like, it is a glorious use of that song. Yeah. And like, that doesn't, you know?
Well, I mean, the craziest thing to me, bringing up Connected by the Stereo MCs, for at least the third time sitting in front of this microphone and talking to you, Sejohn, is that a good trivia question, keep this one in your pocket for trivia night, is what do freaking Deuce Bigalow Male Gigolo as Celtic Pride share? Gail O'Grady and Connected by the Stereo MCs. Like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
She just carries the CD with her everywhere she goes.
It's just one of those weird... I don't get... I mean, like that, in that scene, we're also going to talk about, you know, we've talked about the cable guy already. I keep bringing it up like it's new every time. That scene where Aykroyd is on the dance floor is like almost shot for shot Chip at the karaoke party singing...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is it not Hot Stuff? Is it Hot Stuff? I haven't seen the cable guy in such a long time. Love Roller Coaster, maybe? I don't know. But like the outfits are almost the same. The camera angle is the same where like he's dancing towards it and like weirdly messing with like...
You're not talking about the White Rabbit scene, are you? The
It's before
Jefferson
White
Starship
Rabbit.
Scene?
There is the Starship, but like he's dancing, and I think it's like, don't you want somebody to love? Like that's the one that I'm thinking of, is where like he kind of dances towards the camera, and Aykroyd has that moment too, and like I'm like, this is, and the point is that it's supposed to make you feel like Jimmy Flaherty, because Damon Wayans' character Lewis Scott basically, once him and Dan Aykroyd are in the room, he's just roasting Dan Aykroyd about, like, how little of a man he is. Like, that is their dynamic in this film, which is kind of, I mean, it tracks for 1996. Let's talk about toxic masculinity in 1996. But it's like, I can't think of a Dan Aykroyd film. I'm like, good for Dan Aykroyd in this. He is willingly eating shit in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I cannot believe, in my mind, Daniel Stern is always the henchman. And that's rude to Daniel Stern. I love Daniel Stern as an actor. I will admit that right here, right now. But, like, I think of City Slickers, where he is the fucking second fiddle to Mitch. I think about Home Alone, where it's Harry and Marv. It's never Marv and Harry. You're never putting him in the first seat. So the fact that when I think about this movie and I think about Daniel Stern and fucking Dan Aykroyd, of course in my head Dan Aykroyd's probably the heavy in that, but it's not. Daniel Stern is the heavy in Celtic Pride, and Dan Aykroyd does such a wonderful job of being the, like, put upon best friend. And it's also insane that Dan Aykroyd is not the guy who's, like, spearheading everything, because as the movie reminds us too many times, fucking Daniel Stern's Mike O'Hara has a wife and kid. The person who should be so obsessed with sport is fucking Dan Aykroyd's character. Like, he is written, the mise en scène is there. The fact that he literally lives in, like, a sports museum is, like, you'd be the one that you would expect. And honestly, he's kind of the one who comes up with the idea of, like, we'll get him blitzed and everything. But then for Daniel Stern, who is the lead of this movie, and who, like, perpetrates all of the issues. And it's, I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird little movie. And I like it. I do enjoy this film. A film that we have called a weird little movie multiple times. But it makes some really interesting choices that I wish worked out better. Does that make sense? Is that a fair way to put that, do you think? Like,
yeah, I think that's fair.
Because, I mean, I like a lot of this movie. I just... Even the whole, like, we're going to kidnap him thing feels like they're just hanging out with him. Like, he's like... I forgot that a gun was introduced and that gun actually goes off.
Oh, man.
And it shoots a Bill Buckner ball from 1986. Like...
Exactly. The joke, though, about where the gun comes from, too, is great, too.
Yeah, that it's like in an Olympic biathlon gun from...
that he traded.
What did he trade for it? What about...
It was a baseball, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember what he traded for it, but yeah, he traded something for it. What about when they go to the Roxy to, like, intercept Lewis Scott? And he's like, I can't believe I'm wearing Jack Nicklaus's jacket. And she's like, yeah, like, my dad grabbed that after he won the first Masters. Like, there's so much depth to Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd has the best line in the movie when he apologizes. It's like his last line in the movie to Damon Wayans. He's like, hey, I'm really sorry about the whole abduction thing. I've never done that with another guy before. And Stern and Wayans kind of give him a look like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, have you abducted women? And like, it's so good. He's such this deep character that they never shine a spotlight on. And that's Dan Aykroyd. Mm. Like, I've already given him credit and praise, but, like, that's Aykroyd to a T. Building this depth into that character who is not given, like, a chance to show any of it off. But I will say, as we approach an hour into this episode, one thing from this movie, because you're not wrong, this isn't a movie that was on all the time. Anytime I did find it when I was flipping through the channels, maybe I'd stop till a commercial, but I was not watching the rest of this movie. The bit that will always stick with me from Celtic Pride is when they're at the gas station and he's going to light Daniel Stern's junk on fire with the Celtic Zippo. And he's like, that lighter hasn't worked for years. But then he's like, can I get a light for my cigarette? And he lights it. That sticks with me. That sticks with me because that was the moment we talked about on the playground. Was just how good that setup and payoff is. It works for me. It does work for me.
Nice.
Oh, hey, look at that. It does work. Like, what? Fuck you. Sorry. Is there anything else you want to say about this movie? Because with how close we are to the Super Bowl and the Damon Wayans of it all, I think I'd like to briefly shift to talk about something else in this time capsule episode that's sort of involved.
Okay, let's hear what you got, Mitch.
Did you know that In Living Color is the reason for the modern Super Bowl halftime show?
You gotta, okay, go.
I'm asking you if you're aware of it, okay? So after watching the movie, my mother sits down and she's like, that Damon Wayans, he's smart. He's the reason for the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, this led to a fight. I'll admit that there was a little bit of a fight because Keenan Ivory Wayans, who was not a junior, by the way. Their father's name was Howard. Oh, I had his name ready to go and I've forgotten it. Howell Stoughton Wayans is his father. So he's just Keenan Ivory Wayans. I don't know why he's Keenan Ivory Wayans. I don't know why that's there. But like
stage names are weird.
Yeah, you know, it's what it is. Like, I don't like when, like, the Wayans are responsible for In Living Color. It's not just Damon. Keenan Ivory was a big draw behind it. Like, it was a collaborative effort, but mostly from the Wayans family. In 1993, they're like, we're going to go up against the Super Bowl. Like, that's what Fox wanted them to do. They wanted to program In Living Color against the Super Bowl. Because, you know, that they were on Sunday nights, and that's what they did. So instead of like doing a normal telecast in 93, they do a halftime special on another channel. And as soon as halftime started, that's when they go live. It's an In Living Color live event, Super Bowl Sunday 1993. And in the corner, they have a countdown clock so that people can know when they have to switch back to the game. And they do like a greatest of In Living Color. Not really like a best of, but like all the characters that people have come to know and love are like on display. Like Fire Marshal Bill and Homer the Clown and all these other things are on display there. And then it ends, right? The clock ends. They go dark as soon as halftime ends. But everybody switched over from the Super Bowl to watch the In Living Color special. And then the next year, that's when the NFL booked Michael Jackson and have done the lavish halftime shows that we come to associate with the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, you want to talk about football is not something that everybody fucking cares about in the 90s, Sejohn. Yeah. Right? Like, the halftime show is only 32 years old in the form that we know it now. And it's because of Damon Wayans and In Living Color.
Isn't it produced now by, is it Jay-Z or is it Dre? Who's producing it?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know who produced it.
But I'm pretty sure it's like a whole, well, so my understanding is that the halftime show is kind of an entity unto itself at this point now. They basically operate as their own little kind of business and don't answer to like, they answer to only the highest echelon of NFL. Like they don't like, so when people are like bitching and moaning about why the halftime show is this and how the NFL is getting away from that, I mean, part of that is because the NFL isn't the one making the decisions necessarily.
Right. I mean, that tracks. It's just something that goes on. It looks like, I mean, Apple Music halftime show seems the producers have been Jesse Collins and Rock Nation for at least the past 5 Super Bowl halftime shows. I don't know like when that started or anything like that. But yeah, Jay-Z, Rock Nation, that starts in 2021. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, so Jay-Z and Rock Nation are doing it in 2020. So yeah, it seems like Rock Nation. Okay, so they're the ones now because the producer of the halftime show in 2019 was Ricky Kirshner. And then it was Ricky Kirshner before that. So beginning with 2020, Jay-Z and Rock Nation seem to have taken that over. And it's an American entertainment company founded by Jay-Z in 2008. Look at you, Sejohn. You know stuff. I don't know why I said it like that. It's obviously you know things. I wouldn't be sitting here talking with you about things. You brought some really depressing information about Celtic Pride to me. Like the fact that it apparently only made $4 million, but people say it made $9 million. Thank you for that.
I mean, it made, it probably made $9 million because we've talked all the time about how Box Office Mojo is basing its numbers off of a very tight, select few types of theaters, right? It's not catching every theater. So I would believe the reported 9 million because why tack on money if it's a loss even then. So what would be the point in lying?
I don't know. I mean, I could also see for Hollywood accounting, like straight up, Hollywood is kind of like
yes, this is definitely the kind of movie that they would shove a bunch of money into. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like where they're like they can make it look like they shoved a lot of money into it. Like in order to get all the licensing from the NBA, that costs a lot of money, but we're not going to disclose exactly how much. But they could take like the maximum deductible for the loss of this movie only making
Also,
$9 million. Like
there's also this whole thing where we're gonna use the NBA and it costs a lot of money to use the NBA, but we're also the guys that run the NBA.
yeah, what's that about? How does that work?
So they're just paying themselves like that. That is the most common and most widely ignored like scam in all of this. In not just movie making, but since we're talking about it in movie making, is the amount of people that get away with paying themselves and not disclosing that. Like, I don't care that they paid themselves, but obviously they are trying to hide that kind of shit when they don't disclose that they are the ones that also run that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's all weirdly disingenuous. Like, disingenuous, apparently, the word of the day in my calendar. Yeah, because who does this one? It's Hollywood Pictures.
Oh, mine's a Far Side calendar.
Oh, that's fun. I don't have a word of the day calendar. I just feel like I've said disingenuous so many times, I no longer know the definition of the word. This is a Buena Vista film, too, which is that other crazy thing. Like, the Judd Apatow, he gets into bed with them with heavyweights. So, like, yeah, they're going to do his next script, too. Like, this is weirdly Disney. And Hollywood Pictures goes away. Like, we could talk about all the Hollywood Pictures movies that we've discussed going forward. Like Encino Man and all that. Super Mario Brothers. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who owns the NBA. Like, I always thought that was more of a Universal thing. So I don't think it would have been Disney at the time. But it's all backroom deals anyway. They can look at this and that. You know what, Siege?
Well, no, I mean, if you think about the various owners of teams and stuff, like, I mean, you better believe that Mark Cuban would love to produce a movie that then they could use the Mavs in, right?
Right. Well, I mean, didn't he sell the Mavericks? I don't think he owns them anymore.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think that just happened though. Sells.
But like, yeah, but like to that, but just saying, like, the individual teams are almost like businesses unto themselves. Yes, they all operate within the league of the NBA, and the NBA has a lot of control over the things they can and can't do. But like, they are pretty much left to their own devices, and as long as they're abiding by the rules, right?
Siege, and I'm introducing a new. This is fun because it's a time capsule episode. I'm introducing a new segment in this time capsule episode, though it might come up in other episodes, so that's it. It's called Pop Quiz, jackass. How much do you think Mark Cuban sold the Dallas Mavericks for in 2023?
$2.1 billion.
$3.5 billion. You were pretty close without going over, buddy. But yeah, $3.5 billion. Billion with a B. That's an unfathomable amount of money to you or I. Yeah. Right? We have a better chance of understanding the concept of infinity than we do understanding what $3.5 billion looks like. $3.5 billion anything. I don't even think you and I could comprehend 3.5 billion grains of rice.
Exactly. But like that at that level, right? You know, this is going to be the anarchist in me coming out, but at that level, that's what I mean by these are just people just paying themselves. Like, when you're making movies and when you're making a slate of movies, you're operating on $1 billion to $2 billion budget for the year that your studio is going to push out there. The people that are making decisions about who gets to do what with who, they're obviously going to say, well, I own these ones, so let's do that. And then they get to say, oh, we paid all this money to this other company, but really they own both companies. So it's a shell game. It's stupid.
Yep. You're not wrong. And it's what we're talking about. Like, it's all about the people that you know in Hollywood. This feels like we're getting like weirdly conspiracy theorists, but it's true. Because Sejohn's initial question is not an unfathomable one to ask. How did Judd Apatow keep surviving in Hollywood when for anybody else, this number of failures in rapid succession would mean the end of your career? We've seen it with so many other people that we have talked about on this show, where like you have one failure and you never
have an appreciation.
Again. Was that? Yeah. What do you mean?
I know we have an appreciation for heavyweights, but was that also a failure?
Actually, I don't know. Everybody knows heavyweights, but I don't know like financially how it went. That's a good question. Why don't we box office?
I'm just curious how it went. Okay. It made 17.5 million. I don't know what it would have cost to make that movie. It was a bunch of child actors, so probably not much.
Well, let's look up Heavyweight's budget.
And Ben Stiller plays 2 roles, so you're saving money there.
And his father's in it, and you know that you don't need to pay the father. So the budget for Heavyweights is reported at $10 million. So $17.7 million. It's technically a profit. It's not a great profit, but it is a profitable movie. There's a reason we didn't get.
No, we're talking about a time we're talking about a time where it was rare to double your budget, right? Like we shouldn't. Like, I feel like saying that wasn't a great amount of profit is a very 2026 thing to say.
That's a good point. But like, there's a reason we didn't get a Heavyweights too. I mean, we did kind of in Dodgeball, but I'm more talking about there's a reason why we got 3 Mighty Ducks films, but not multiple Heavyweights.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's
there was a 90s themed Olympic event, and one of the pairs, it was an ice skating pairs event, and one of the pairs was wearing a skating outfit, but a rather kind of muted one and all of that, except that if you really looked at it, it was definitely the Mighty Ducks colors. That was their 90s theme for their thing, is they were dressed like the Mighty Ducks.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I also love that for some reason, all of the Jazz jerseys in this had like a white, gold, and green border. Like, I don't know where that...
Maybe they didn't get the rights to the actual...
Like, I just don't know. I don't understand. Like, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, you know what is impressive about this? It has to be the NBA, right? You can't call this movie Celtic Pride and not get the NBA involved. So it is impressive to watch this movie where, like, the NBA has to have been on board, right? Like, the money was paid to the proper people for the permission to use the NBA. But it's just, it's so weird. Like, it almost would be better if it wasn't the actual NBA. But then all the celebrity stuff.
If it was just some complete other alternate reality.
Yeah. You know, the American Football League from The Replacements.
Well, you know who does this really well, like with this exact sport, is Semi-Pro. Semi-Pro does a fantastic job of capturing the early era of the NBA without actually showing anything historically accurate.
Yeah, that's true. Also, they're not professional. They're semi-professional players. Like, it's right there in the name. So they it's built into the DNA of the story that you're telling. It's like, I love that Shoresy is like senior AAA whale shit hockey. Like, that really works for me. Because then, of course, it's not teams that you actually know. Right? Nobody knew the Paw Sox outside of Rhode Island. Except for maybe,
but remember that the point of the movie is about them going into an actual league.
Right, yes. And yeah, it's true. I'm sorry. I haven't seen Semi-Pro since Semi-Pro came out. I really like it. Love Me Sexies on most of my playlists. That's a lie. It's on a couple of playlists. I just wanted to look cool in front of you, Siege, and I'm so sorry.
Oh, man.
All right. So I guess the last thing that I want to touch on is Fever Pitch. The 2004 movie with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore. But not that one. The 1997 Fever Pitch that is based on a 1992 book by Nick Hornsby, of High Fidelity fame, and how Celtic Pride really kind of feels a little bit like we're trying to capture the moment of this guy. Right? Am I wrong on that? Like I don't know. Like, there's an audience for this. And I think the way that you justify outside of, well, people go see movies about basketball, right? People have always gone to see movies about basketball. Has there been a basketball movie since Hustle? That's a weird question that I just asked. Champions, right? Champions came out after Hustle.
GOAT is coming out just the end of this week, brother.
Fucking GOAT! I forgot about GOAT. I'm excited because Jada Toys got the license for that one, and like that's impressive. Like, that is Jada doing not nostalgia grabs, but new figures. Are you gonna go see GOAT? I don't know if I'm gonna go see it in theaters. Like, I really want to see it.
I might wait for it at home.
Yeah,
it depends. No, it's one of those things where, like, if I'm in the mood to, like, get out of the house and I can find a good time that it's playing, yeah, I'd go see it. I'm not going to make special plans for it. I'm not going to be there at the midnight premiere.
Right. I'm not going to cut Clash to go see the 40-year-old virgin. I mean, the GOAT, Devon. Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. Yeah, right? Like, but I was trying to think of, like, last year if there was a good basketball movie, and none really jumped to mind from 2025. There was a ping pong movie in Marty Supreme, but I can't think of any basketball movies. But yeah, like, people go see basketball movies. But the other thing is that, like, the obsession of The Fan, right? I mean, The Fan comes out in 1996. This movie is not, like, completely out of left field in terms of what the topic that is on display. You know, like, we were doing stuff about crazy fans.
Yeah. I mean, the Fan. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess the last thing that I want to talk about, it goes back to your whole soundtrack thing, because this movie also features OPP by Naughty by Nature. So, like, I don't need any more proof that this film did not really connect with you on, like, a deeper or more visceral level than the fact that when I met you, I sang OPP at you, and you're like, what the fuck is that song? We discussed the OPP divide a lot, but Sejohn, here's a movie that you're like, I owned the VHS, and you don't remember that song because the music in this movie just did not connect for you. And I mean, it's true.
Very distinctly remember what I said, is I owned this VHS, but it's because it was gifted to me as if I was expected to be like asking for it.
Well, I mean, like, you tell the story of that we all talked about it at lunch. My guess is you didn't contribute to that conversation as much as someone at that table wanted to. So when it came time to buy you a gift for your birthday party, someone's like, here you go, Sejohn. Now you can finally see Celtic Pride.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what's weird is that, like, Dirty Water by the Standells is in this movie. I would have never clocked that. Or, like, the song Celtic Pride by the Mahones. Like, nope. Like, it's weird. It is weird. Meet the Bongo Man is probably the movie that I'm going to, the song I'm going to take away from this film. Because it is just used so beautifully the multiple times it comes up. But that's me. I'm a crazy person. All right. Anything else
I got your 2025 basketball movie for you, Dev.
What you got, Sage?
The Lifetime classic, Taken at a Basketball Game. A desperate father's attempt to bond with his teenage daughter turns into a frantic search when she vanishes during halftime.
Okay. So I cannot. The only way that I could exemplify the roller coaster ride that I just went on as you described that movie to me is by saying, send me up and send me down, take me right back to the ground, take my hair and send it soaring, soaring. Because, like you said, Lifetime movie, and I'm like, I don't consider Lifetime movies or TV movies in the discussion of films. I know that they are films, but I'm talking about a theatrically released film. That's the first place I go. Then you say Taken at a Basketball Game, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. It's about, like, somebody who was abducted at a basketball game. But then the like surprise third drop of that roller coaster is no. It's not just called Taken at a Basketball Game because it's about someone being taken at a basketball game. This film is literally the movie Taken, but set at a basketball game. But
yes, exactly.
like, that's insane to me. Now I want to see that, but like for real, where like it is Liam fucking Neeson, and like, you've taken my daughter. There's only 24 minutes left in the game, and I have a certain set of skills. I will get her back from you before the final buzzer. That's my promise.
Your Irish accent is astounding, by the way.
Oh, well, you know, I have bronchitis right now, and everybody knows the Irish accent is just bronchitis and whiskey. Oh, I'm halfway there. All right. Anything else you want to say? Or I think this is a pretty solid time capsule on this one. Some promises that we may or may not keep. I want to do Major Pain. I definitely want to do the Great White Hype to round out the trilogy of Damon Wayans stuff. But this one was a bit of a surprise. We needed something to buffer. And, you know, with the Super Bowl and everything and our discussions about this movie, we're like, let's do it. Let's just get Celtic Pride out of the way. So thanks for listening to this one. Anything from you, Sejohn?
I don't even have like a funny quote from this movie.
I mean, seriously. Oh, you know what?
I got nothing.
What the fuck was Jeff Ross doing in this movie before the Comedy Central roasts? He's the guy who gets his car stolen. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? This is weird.
A favor for Judd Apatow is what it sounds like.
That's what it has to be. It was one of those moments where I'm just like, what are you doing? You also got Paul Guilfoyle. I love Paul Guilfoyle. And you know what? You know what I like about this movie? Just like straight up, down, left, right, BA, start, is the fact that the person who suffers the most is the dirty police officer. That's an impressive thing to have happen in this 1996 film. I just have to say it. I have to mention it. Because he's the only one. There are no consequences for anybody in this movie except for the police officer.
No, not a single one.
Yeah, like that's... And I don't know. And like down to the fact that like, were they hoping for like Patriot... I don't even know. Spirit? Would that be the secret? Celtic Pride, Patriot Spirit, where they kidnap Deion Sanders and Deion Sanders and then become best friends with him? Like, I don't know. I just don't know. I like that ending. I like that ending as a setup for a movie and like special appearance by Deion Sanders. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm glad that we saw this one. I'm glad that we did this episode. Thanks to you, Sejohn, for doing it. If you at home would like to keep the conversation going, you could join us in our Discord. Invitations to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this time capsule recording on February 10th, 2026, is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Navigate to the bio section, and there'll be an invitation that you can click to join the Discord. If you're not on social media, which none of us are going to blame you for, you can send an email to us directly, thesayreport@gmail.com, and we can facilitate you with an invitation to join the Discord. And if the Discord is still a bridge too far for you, feel free to communicate with us via email, thesayreport@gmail.com. And if it's for me, Devin Decker, or for him, Sejohn Sarwick, just put our names in the subject line, and we will make sure that it is distributed to the appropriate Say Reporter so that they will be the ones who get to read your hopes, dreams, and most intimate thoughts. But just keep in mind, just because you send it to Sejohn does not mean that he will not read it and go, oh, we should talk about this on the show, Rocky. I don't know why I made you Bullwinkle there, Sejohn. I hope you're okay with it. Anything that's submitted to us is open to be discussed on the show. Just keep that in mind. It's just to protect you that like we might talk about this stuff, just so you're aware. All of that said, thank you for joining us on this time capsule episode where we sought to answer the question, what kind of loser wants to be an Asterisk, as we discuss the 1996 film Celtic Pride in celebration of its 30th anniversary. With no further ado, William, please bring us home.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Stephen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.